sorry, I'm trying not to be too emotional. I'm going through a separation. I'm in a really hard place because I'm also a single mom. This child is not from this marriage. I've unfortunately been in, now this is my third broken relationship. I was married in my 20s to a man who wound up cheating on me, and we had met at church. I actually was a Sunday school teacher, and he just led worship, and we got married young, and he wound up cheating on me, and that marriage failed. I actually grew up in California, and I moved to from there to South Carolina to start new, and stayed single for a while. And then in my late 30s, met somebody at church, and was in that relationship and persevered through 7 years of his addiction and many infidelities on his part. Alcohol, and then I found out he was smoking marijuana with friends, and that was never a part of my life. So when we found out we were going to have a child, we had been separated so many times, even through pastoral care, because his addictions were and behaviors were just so off the chart. But when I found out that miraculously we were going to have a child, yes, that was the second in my late 30s, 7-year marriage, and I actually had my one and only miracle baby at the age of 42. But when my child came into our life, and he continued the behaviors, and I realized nothing's going to change this. I had a pastor say, at some point you have to realize that, yes, God hates divorce, but what you're living in is not healthy, and it's not a loving relationship. And I chose to get out because I felt like potentially, even though it would be a struggle to be a single mom, it would be better than what I was living with.
Okay.
And
so where does that bring us today? What's the question?
Today, the question is, I wound up having another friend from church lead me to somebody that I thought I trusted, and we got married over 2 years ago. And while I saw probably some red lights at the beginning, or red flags, I did not realize his deal with addiction, and that's become a huge obstacle. And I finally, several months back, had to make the decision, because he would not get help.
What is his addiction?
His is to alcohol.
To alcohol. Okay.
And
so what is your question? That's a lot of pain. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I need to be better for my daughter, because obviously there's patterns where the only thing I can get to is...
hear you. You need to be what for your daughter? What is it you need to be?
Just I need to be a better role model for her. I feel like I have zero self-worth at this point, because I feel like that's what my relationship... 9.
Okay. So what? Tell me your question. What I can see, you're in the middle of.
I honestly don't.
Chaos.
It is a lot of chaos. It's a daily. I don't know how to break the cycle, because it's giving people the benefit of the doubt and feeling if I could help them.
I understand that phrase, giving people the benefit of the doubt. And there are times for that, understandably. But you mentioned that you saw some red lights. And
in the third one, yeah.
Yeah. And I would like for you to, we're talking about patterns a little earlier. I don't know if you heard the intro or not.
Right. Yes, and that's actually why I called, because I'm definitely seeing my patterns.
Yeah, that's good. So So remember what I said about when you see a pattern, you don't try to fix it on your own. You need a lattice,
Right,
right?
right.
And so this also goes back to the role model thing for your daughter. Um, are you in Al-Anon or some program like that now?
I'm not. Actually, someone just mentioned to me that they thought I should get in that, and I guess I do need to do that. I need to research that for my area.
Yeah, yeah,
The
and it wouldn't be
harder
hard. I
part right
mean,
now is right. It's just being a single parent, and I can't. I don't know that if I can take. I don't know if I can do meetings with her, if they're all virtual
well,
at this point. I don't know.
you might can, and there's also I don't know how low in age they go, but this goes to the role modeling thing. Your daughter, in terms of your being a role model, oh, I'm sorry. Let me finish that other sentence first. They also have Alateen, and I don't know how low that goes in age, but they do a lot of
Okay.
groups that are oriented to the kids as well. And what I was going to say, when you first mentioned you have to be a better role model, um, I do understand what you're talking about in that you have to role model for her better, having good boundaries and not instantly trusting people and giving them the benefit of the doubt when they shouldn't have it and stuff like that. That's one part of the role modeling. Part of that also is you having good boundaries with her. So sometimes parents will find themselves in a situation like this. They're feeling for the kid, and the boundaries that they sometimes they're out of guilt and other things. They don't have a lot of structure for the kid because they go, well, poor kid's got so much to deal with and all this, which they do, and they kind of don't have the good boundaries and structures and discipline they need for the child because they're kind of like, you know, sort of like we let them slide a little bit because of all they're going through. That's another important part to training her how to have good boundaries is for you to have good boundaries with her. But the third one is
Right.
this, and this is the main one. Here's the role model that I would like for you to become. And as soon as Alateen kicks in, as soon as she's old enough for that, or another group like that, it'd be a good one. The I think one of the best things you could do for her and being a role model is a mother that is pursuing recovery. Now, when you've got a pattern of being attracted to and obviously knowing the patterns of how to make a relationship with an addict work, which is that's what codependency is. You're wired with some
Mhm.
patterns that's the relationship that you know how to make this work, right? You ignore the red flags, you enable them, you let it go, all this kind of
Right.
stuff. That's what I want you to role model. I want you to be a role model that this kid grows up and says, let's say 9 years from now when she leaves home, she says, "You know what I learned from my mom is so cool. My mom had us in groups and she was like pursuing health and growth and she went through some hard times and then she decided I'm not going to do this anymore and she helped me, you know, learn all this stuff about adult children of alcoholics and all this kind of stuff. You become a role model to her for pursuing health, and that's one of the best things you can do. That's what I would say.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
and God bless you for wanting to. And you know what, Lindy, here's what I would encourage you. I'd really like for this pattern of pain to be over in your life. And you can do that. And God will help you to do that. Okay. But it's like I was saying, you're going to have some other eyeballs around you. That's going to be your lattice. And when you get in a good group like that, you're going to say at some point, hopefully, well, it's going to happen. You're going to go in the group and say, well, my husband did this or that. And then I said this or that. And they're going to say, you did what? Lindy, don't do that. Do this. Okay. And they're going to become your eyes and they're going to start to train you. And that's what I want for you. And that also is the best hope for your alcoholic husband because you said he doesn't want to deal with this problem. Well, they're going to help you. It's not a guarantee, but here's what we know. Alcoholics who get better most all the time, it's because the people around them start to behave differently in their relationship with them. Now, that doesn't automatically mean the addict is going to get sober, but what it does mean in the majority of the cases is if they are going to get sober, then that's going to have to be what happens. So that's what
Right.
I want for you is to go find a good group like that. I've got to run. Thank you for your call. We hear your pain. I'm sure if you go on Facebook, you're going to see a lot of people who are going to have some comments and encourage you and probably been through the same thing. But I have hope. I have hope for you, certainly for you, because that's something you can control, right? You can do this. But also have hope for your husband that you're separated from, that if he begins to see, some different and some, good boundaries and all of that, and get some the kind of good consequences and all that, it perhaps he might see the light and he might get into his own path of breaking his pattern as well.